With Chuck Harold, SecurityGuideTV.com, ESISTV.org. My next guest on the show, what's your name?
Tafir Hamed.
Name of your website and company?
AGB Investigative Services. We are at agbinvestigative.com.
A local Chicago business.
Yep.
That's fantastic. But with the national reach.
Yes.
All right, very good. Tell us what you guys do.
So AGB is a full-service security firm that does everything from garden patrol, fingerprint background checks, training, and our growth plan is rooted in cybersecurity.
Oh, now this is important, right? I was just talking to somebody who did investigations a few minutes ago, and I've been doing this a long time, since like the 80s. I have my license, right? Yeah. And I have the first computer of anybody I knew. So I know the internet, I know searches, but I did a search the other day, and I missed an arrest on a guy. 3 arrests.
Yeah.
Because the database I was in didn't have it.
Yeah.
And it turns out there was a New York law that says we don't have to display it. So I'm rusty on it, right? It's not what I do for a living now, but it's really changed a lot. It's easier, but it's more difficult.
It is. There's a lot more, the databases aren't as up to date, and so it's important that we go to the correct sources. We source from Sterling for our
Sterling's
background
been around
checks.
a long time. Yeah.
And our CEO, he's actually former Secret Service, as well as computer forensics for the state's attorney's office. So he's our chief investigator.
So let's talk about the Sterling background checks. People that don't know, there are background checks that are public information, and you just kind of get a general search. There's all kinds of websites for that, and they do a pretty good job. But then there's Fair Credit Reporting Act compliance, and I'm still amazed that most of my clients don't know what that means. So explain why background checks for employment have to be a very specific thing.
Yeah, they are changing new laws and regulations that every organization cannot look for your credit reports, and so that is discriminatory in nature. So you really can't necessarily base someone's employment on their credit check, and I believe that's not legal in Illinois per Pritzker about a month ago. So,
in California, I think they tried to pass this law, or they did, and it basically said, if I'm going to investigate you, I have to tell you I'm going to investigate you.
Yeah.
Well, there goes the whole purpose of doing an investigation, right?
Yep.
So each state is different and has different challenges. What is your primary vertical market? Who do you service the most?
We are the largest contractors for the Chicago Housing Authority.
Oh, that's cool.
So real estate, and we do private real estate as well, and we do retail. But our largest is the Chicago Housing Authority.
Okay, so if you're doing housing, tenants, background checks, so how do you reconcile? Well, I mean, you got to do a credit report if you're going to rent something, maybe, right?
Yeah, well, we're doing garden patrol for Chicago Housing Authority.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so we have decreased crime by 90% through our garden patrol in the Chicago Housing Authority. Before we actually had boots to ground, the neighborhoods did not have the quality, the housing did not have the quality of life. Everything from, lights, Christmas lights out during, the holiday season, et cetera. We've been able to improve the quality of life for our residents of the Chicago Housing Authority through garden patrol.
So in addition to investigations, you have patrol services.
Right. That is 90,
I missed that part.
Yeah, that is 90% of our portfolio is garden patrol. So we started in investigations, and we've sorry, that's my alarm.
The boss is calling.
Yeah, and it's not going to turn off, I don't believe. But we are rooted and grounded in garden patrol, and we are the largest community policing community policers for all of the special service areas in Chicago as well.
Okay.
So that we provide patrol and guarding for our businesses. So everyone from Greektown to Humboldt Park, making sure that there aren't any loitering activities, et cetera. So
I love this town. My grandmother was born here in 1910.
Oh, amazing.
Saul Dillinger got shot in front of the theater. She was
my
there.
gosh.
Yeah. It's just got this vibe about it.
Yeah.
High energy, all this culture and history. It's just a fascinating place.
Yeah.
What is your biggest challenge in your patrol service as far as compliance? What are some of the laws that Illinois has, maybe California doesn't have, that have to keep you guys on your toes as far as guards and hiring and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I would say requalifying and making sure that our guards are up to date.
Continuing education
Education. And AGB has a 501c3. It's an institute, the AGB Institute, that is dedicated to providing training and security training for our guards. So we requalify 4 times as much than the state actually requires for our armed guards to make sure that we are mitigating risk, for our clients.
Now, because you're in the housing sector, are there specific training requirements? I know in California, if you're in the school business and guard services, you have to have a vertical training for schools, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so it differs by client, and we make sure that we tailor our training per client. We have an AGB way in which we do things, so no matter what the client is, we make sure that we have an Emerging Leaders Academy, that we bring in Fortune 500 coaches that teach at Northwestern, that teach on emotional intelligence, workforce de-escalation.
That's the new thing.
Yeah, workforce de-escalation, and even doing psychological background checks as well, and references and what have you. But we make sure that we go above and beyond per the Institute, what the state requires, what our clients require, because our CEO is dedicated to the upliftment of the communities that we service. So AGB stands for Always Giving Back.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and so it's more of a ministry that he actually pours his investment into the workforce development angle, as well as life skill training. So all of our guards that come into AGB, they actually are able to grow and see a career that they hadn't seen before.
Right.
So we have one individual that came in as just an unarmed officer that is now the number 3 director at AGB.
What a great story.
So, yeah.
So last question, let's talk
Yes,
about,
sir.
to the point of hiring and staffing. I may be rusty on these numbers. Used to be about 1 million guards in the United States.
Yeah.
Maybe that's give or take a couple 100,000. But there's also a 2 million person shortage in cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Right? Are you finding guards are saying, you know what, I'm going to go to cybersecurity? It's obviously different pay rates and things like that.
Yeah.
And do you have any trouble staffing? Because all across the country, it's getting tougher and tougher to find people to fill the jobs.
It is. We have an amazing HR department. Shout out to Anita Clayton and our our HR team. We are able to staff. There are a population out there that's going ignored, that don't necessarily have degrees, that are looking for a career.
Right.
And so AGB is there to help them navigate and grow them. And so that's how we are able to recruit, because we're training we're not recruiting just for a position, but we are focused on the whole individual. So we have, again, 2 501c3s. The other 501c3 is a foundation focused on youth and Chicago minority youth. And so the officers that actually work for AGB, their children are able to do internships for our administrative office. So they're able to walk through marketing and accounting, et cetera. And so when they see that holistic care from an employer, recruitment, we have 4 times the retention rate than the average security firm.
That's
because
impressive.
Of our investment in our security officer.
Well, I'll tell you why you're a success right now, because you guys are very nice, I can tell.
Thank you.
No, and that's part of it. Listen, guards will, go across the street for less money if they're treated properly.
Right.
That's the whole secret sauce right there, and you guys sound like you have it. Name and website one more time.
Yep. AGB Investigative Services, www.agbinvestigative.com. And you can find our institute at agbinstitute.org and our foundation at agbfd.org.
Great. Thanks for going on Security Guy TV here at, I almost said the wrong conference, here at GSX 2019, live from Chicago. Back in a minute.